Okay, so let's get the low-hanging fruit out of the way. Holland Oats. Now that's off the checklist, let's talk about the sharks. Back when people used to watch TV, where I worked, Discovery Shark Week was a big thing every year. Now, my coworkers weren't exactly the educational or documentary watching kind of people. So it was always funny how the next day they would come in spouting facts about the bite force of a great white, or the size of a grown whale shark. I never figured out if it was just great marketing that got people so into Shark Week, or if that sharks just have that cool factor. So while in my mind making the protagonist of Maneater a shark seemed like a gimmicky choice, I realized why it works. Playing as Earth's aquatic murder robot would be fun for a while, but won't it get one-dimensional? Well, it probably will. But in the same way any RPG does when I start thinking about the kill stuff to get better gear, to kill bigger stuff for better gear loop. Still though, an ARPG where you play as a shark? What even could be the bad guy to a shark? Maybe an orca? The megalodon that isn't actually extinct? Nope. Scaly Pete, a shark hunter being filmed for a reality TV show. The game starts with a prologue, where you get to play as a fully grown monster of a shark. You know the RPG power fantasy trope, where you get to taste how OP a fully kitted out version is, only to make you start with nothing a few moments later. Still, it is a pretty gnarly opening to the protagonist's story. And then the grind begins. You eat your first fish, giving you some resources. Then another, and another. Then you level up. If you've played anything with RPG mechanics in the last 25 years, you've done this a million times. Yet, it feels so satisfying chomping away at things with a shark. The grind starts off a little slow because you are just a baby shark and how long eating takes. The other holdup is how risky combat is early on. Can you win fights against the gators this early? Sure. But you either have to fight flawlessly, or run away to eat and collect health, then come back to finish the fight. But as you level, you will get bigger, and bite harder, and start swallowing things whole. Those scary adversaries of the past just become another source of resources. Each creature eaten gives XP, health, and resources for upgrading and mutating your shark. Honestly, the upgrades did feel a little ham-fisted and forced into the game. I guess the game is an ARPG under all the swimming and eating though, so why wouldn't it have equipable upgrades, and also sets to collect? Still, giving a shark sonar, poison secretions, or electric jaws just feels weird. Through all of the killing and eating, Chris Parnell narrates the action for the in-game reality show, Maneater. From the marine wildlife facts, to the sardonic commentary when you die, having Jerry Smith explaining the world was quite humorous.
Even the self-driving technology of Gazorpazorp is not without its reliability concerns.
Maneater is a pretty funny game overall, just for how ridiculously over the top it can be. For me though, the using enemies as projectiles was the absolute ace. The whole batters up animation using your tail to whip something into an enemy's face is peak slapstick. Kudos to whoever came up with that idea. I use this attack constantly just because the animation was so satisfying. Overall, animations are top tier and make playing as a shark feel great. Just a simple act of skimming the water lets you feel the shark's speed. My other animation highlights were surfacing for the final blow, where the shark throws the prey in the air before swallowing it whole, jumping out of the water for evasions, and how goofy the shark looks flopping around on land when trying to eat humans. So the thing about eating humans, it is frowned upon. If you kill too many, you will trigger a Grand Theft Auto police type situation where shark hunters will start trying to kill you. If you kill enough shark hunters though, a named hunter will spawn, and killing the named hunter will give you a new upgrade. Admittingly, Maneater's quest system is about as milquetoast as they come. Collect X of these, kill a big bad guy over there, you know the tropes. But while in most games this would be pretty tiresome after a couple repetitions, I found myself distracted enough with just being a shark that quests really never got to the monotonous point. Actually, I treated the quests as less of a focal point and just as a generic destination between general sharking activities. This was another game I could have really used a mini-map in though. But unlike my general lack of direction in other games, the compass system is objectively bad in Maneater. The compass markings are white and are very difficult to read above water. And unfortunately, the controls can be very hit or miss. Just general swimming around felt fine, but combat could get a little wonky. The lock-on feature wasn't very helpful when fighting multiple enemies, and when using attacks with too many enemies bunched up, would sometimes lead to the target being changed right before lunging. And with multiple hunters on a boat, and sometimes boats being very close together, the lunges missing because of changing to a new target could be very annoying. Then there was the transferring between underwater, skimming, and out of water. Transferring between these states felt clumsy while in combat. A button to skip the skimming state would have allowed for far more fluid controls. And then there was the underground areas like caves and sewers. I don't consider myself claustrophobic, but I would get anxious every time I was in one of these areas for extended periods of time. I thought this was pretty weird until I realized why. I have been conditioned after all these years of games. Underwater caves is where I risk drowning because there is no way to get back to the surface for air. What a crazy trigger Maneater was able to evoke in me. So 10 hours of gameplay got me to the first Scaly Pete fight, and it appears I still have a few more hours to beat the game, but I am really enjoying it so far, and do intend on finishing it. Maneater is a refreshing take on the power fantasy genre. While the fetch quests aren't groundbreaking, the satirical reality TV story and excellent animations were distraction enough to hide the ARPG grind loop. This probably isn't your next 1,000-hour blockbuster game. Instead, Maneater is more akin to an action movie. It isn't going to win any Oscars, but the over-the-top violence and gore, running around, killing everything for the sake of it is just mind-numbing fun that doesn't need to be any deeper. Thanks for watching.